Boom! The Soviet Union. Once a colossal giant that held the world in its icy grip, a titan that emerged from the tumultuous tides of the early 20th century, born from the ashes of the Russian Empire. But how did this all happen? How did this behemoth rise to power so quickly and decisively? Let's rewind a bit. It all kicked off with the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917. A group of radical revolutionaries led by the charismatic and cunning Vladimir Lenin overthrew the Tsarist regime. Out of the chaos they forged a new state, the Soviet Union. But this was just the beginning. Under Lenin's leadership, the Soviet Union began to take shape. Lenin believed in a radical form of socialism, where the workers controlled the means of production. He began implementing these ideas, laying down the groundwork for what would become the world's first socialist state. But the real surge in power came with the rise of Joseph Stalin. After Lenin's death, Stalin took the reins and he wasn't playing around. Under his rule, the Soviet Union underwent rapid industrialization that catapulted it onto the global stage. In a matter of a few decades, a largely agrarian nation transformed into a powerhouse of industry and military might. Stalin's rule was ruthless and unyielding, but it was effective. The Soviet Union emerged as a global superpower, a force to be reckoned with. It was a time of great change and upheaval, a time when the world watched in awe and trepidation as this red giant awoke and stretched its mighty limbs. It's a story of revolution, of ambition, of a nation striving for greatness amidst turmoil and strife. It's a tale that resonates through history, a testament to the power of vision, leadership, and the indomitable spirit of the people. And just like that, the Soviet Union rose, a behemoth from the east, casting a long, chilling shadow over the globe. So, we've got this massive powerhouse, right? But what was life like under the Red Banner? Imagine living in a world where your day-to-day life is governed by central planning. Every job you do, every product you buy, and every meal you eat is meticulously planned out by the government. That's how it was in the Soviet Union. The central planning system was the backbone of the Soviet economy, dictating everything from what factory workers produced to what farmers grew. Now let's talk about propaganda. It was everywhere. In the newspapers, on the radio, even in the schools. The state controlled the narrative, painting a picture of a prosperous, united Soviet Union, even when the reality was often far from it. And then there's the culture. Despite the restrictions, or perhaps because of them, the Soviet Union had a rich, vibrant culture. From the hauntingly beautiful literature of Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, to the iconic ballets of the Bolshoi theater, to the groundbreaking scientific achievements in the space race, the Soviet Union left an indelible mark on the world. But it wasn't all rosy. The Great Purge, a brutal political campaign that led to the execution and imprisonment of millions, and the Cold War, a global power struggle that brought the world to the brink of nuclear disaster, were dark chapters in the Soviet Union's history. Life under the Red Banner was, well, a mixed bag of highs, lows, and everything in between. But nothing lasts forever, not even the mighty Soviet Union. You see, a series of events led to the collapse of this colossal entity. The economy was stumbling, burdened by a colossal military spending and inefficient planning. Citizens grew weary, their faith in the system dwindling as they saw their quality of life not improving as promised. Political unrest was another factor. Nationalistic uprisings began to shake the very foundations of the Union. The people wanted change, and they were ready to fight for it. Then, there was Gorbachev. His policies of glasnost and perestroika were meant to reform the system, to bring about transparency and economic restructuring. But they inadvertently opened the floodgates. The people saw the cracks in the system and they pushed for more. In the end, the pressure was too much. The system that was once thought invincible was brought to its knees. And in a twist no one saw coming, the mighty giant fell, leaving behind a world that would never be the same. So the Soviet Union is gone, but what did it leave behind? Let's take a moment to reflect. Its imprint on the world stage is indelible. From the space race to the ideological battles that shaped global politics. Today we remember the Soviet Union not just as a superpower that fell, but as a monumental force that continues to influence our world. The Soviet Union, a red giant that awakened, lived, and fell, leaving behind a legacy that continues to echo throughout history.